In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a table, an equation, and a graph to represent this relationship. And this example is going to focus on Jerry earning $40 per hour. Now, if Jerry doesn't work at all, so this will be hours worked. If Jerry doesn't work at all, he will not make any money because he didn't work an hour yet. If Jerry works 1 hour, he will make $40. If Jerry works 2 hours, if I add another $40, that would be $80. If Jerry works for 3 hours, he will get $120, so another $40 more. If Jerry works 4 hours, 4 times 40 is $160. And if Jerry works 5 hours, he will make $200. Now what I'm going to do is write from this table an equation to represent the relationship here. Now when we think of algebra, I think of the typical equation y is equal to mx plus b. And I wanted to show how we can use this relationship with our table's information and get an equation. Now my first numbers that I put in my list were to represent the hours worked. That's going to represent my x variable. And the y variable is going to represent how much money that Jerry made. So those need to stay the letters x and the y in the equation. But what I need to do is fill in the values for the m and the b. Now your m is called slope. And that's how your table changes. Think about how your table is going up. So as I'm looking at this, because these are going up by 1, how is my table going up? Well, it's going up by $40. That's my rate of change, which is my slope. So I'm going to use y equals $40 per hour worked, and the plus b at the end, that is your starting point, your start value, which is also called your y-intercept. So when Jerry starts, before he worked the first hour, where he starts, how much money does he have? Well, he has no money because he didn't work yet. So I could say plus 0, but I don't need to say 40x plus 0 because if I'm not really adding anything, then it's kind of unnecessary. So I wrote this part in pencil because if I follow this format, it would be 40x plus 0. But if I'm not adding anything anyway, this is almost unnecessary and I don't need to have it in my equation. So that's a way to use the format y equals mx plus b to describe your table. Now, what I'm going to do is represent these points on my graph below. So I'm going to write down here number of hours worked. And then I'm going to write what his pay would be. And I'm going to go up by 20s. So this will be $20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 120. I'm sorry, this should be 200. What am I saying? Now, you can go by whatever scale you want, just make sure you're consistent. And down here, number of hours worked, I'm going to follow this pattern here, 1 through 5. And now what I'm going to do is plot these points on my graph below. So at 0 hours worked, he has 0 pay. At 1 hour worked, $40. 2 hours worked, $80. 3 hours worked was $120. 4 hours was $160, and 5 hours worked was $200. If I connect those points with a line, that would be the equation to represent y equals 40x. That's what the graph would look like. Great job.